My boyfriend spends money on things I consider useless. We've been together since 1 year. We now live in the same apartment, but have separate bank accounts. He spends too much money on quality food. Food is obviously necessary and really important, but we could save much more money. He has his favorite brand of pasta. He spends a lot of money on food dressing, while I'm more frugal. Alcohol, he's not an alcoholic, but to me his alcohol spending habits are still too much. I don't drink alcohol. Coffee, he drinks way too much coffee and music gear. But he's so broke that he has to borrow money from close friends. However, he never lies about it, never steals, and his friends always get their money back the following month. He's just too optimistic and naive about his finances. That's why I don't consider it a deal breaker. But to me, borrowing money even to close friends is not a very polite thing to do, and I feel so ashamed when he asks for money. Right now he has borrowed $236 so far to his friends since last month. How do I make him understand that his behavior has to change? I don't want to control him. I just want to make him realize that it's not healthy. TL. Doctor, I think my boyfriend has terrible spending habits and I need help. Edit. Title spelling mistake. Spends. Edit 2. No, I don't think that he is dumb for spending a lot of money on alcohol, but I don't find it necessary right now since he's in debt. He drinks 10 coffees a day, and where we live it's super expensive. He even wants to have drinks at bars and restaurants several times a week, and at the end of the month he doesn't have anything left and gets super anxious. When I tell him I don't want to have drinks at bars because it's expensive, he says it's not a huge deal and that I might be too frugal. But then he tells me that we should buy a scooter when we all have the money, but yet doesn't save anything. I don't ask him anything. I don't want gifts. He is actually the one who already asked me for money several times to have drinks at bars. I didn't mention it in the post since I wanted to be fair, it wasn't a huge amount and I got my money back anyway. I'm not selfish actually, but to me, it's not fair to ask people for money when you can't do any sacrifice, nor wait a few weeks or months so you don't have debt anymore. Even when he's in debt he keeps asking for money. Please notice that I don't care about what he does with his own money, the money he has. I care about the money he doesn't have. When you have to borrow, you clearly don't have the money now. Actually, it doesn't have anything to do with my own financial goals, since I have savings and I don't want to ask him to pay for me or anything. First, I just find it scary for him, because today he told me that he felt miserable and can't pay all his groceries. And I'm also scared that his friends will be done with his attitude and cut ties with him. Also, I feel some kind of compassion for his friends. I hang out with them too who are not extremely rich, but still lend him money because they are too nice. Hey, borrowing money from friends can be uncomfortable, especially when you're in a couple. Can I help you budget better so you're not short each month? But I always pay them back. That's great. But it's not really a sustainable way to live, right? And no one wants to be the friend who is always asking for a little here and there. It's not your business, true, but only to a point. We live together, and it's uncomfortable to know you are this tight every month. I can't cut back. Let's talk about that together. Can you have a savings account for the big things you want but don't need? It is a red flag. It's that comfort to continuously ask for cash from friends, that psyche. He should feel uncomfortable being that person, no matter how accommodating his friends are. To be honest, I thought I was the only one here who thinks that constantly borrowing money from friends instead of waiting is an issue. I might be controlling, but I have always seen the borrowing mindset as something impolite, because even if people seem to be fine with it, they probably feel uncomfortable. And when you borrow, it's not really your money. Nope, you're definitely not the only one who thinks that's a significant problem. It's nice that he pays his friends back, but lending money is still a pretty big thing to ask a friend. IMHO. Like, it's bad enough to have to do it once. B/C, you found yourself in a tough spot, but this guy's doing it again and again and again. And he just seems to think that it's totally normal. Unfortunately, this guy isn't going to be changing anytime soon. He's 28 years old, so he's fairly well into adulthood as opposed to some kid who's fresh out of high school. So he's had plenty of time to learn. So you need to decide if you want to be with someone who can't manage to budget enough to have a dollar left over at the end of the month. Attraction and emotional compatibility are terrific things. But if you're looking for a life partner, then you need to find someone who has that together, and this guy doesn't. Crazy how post 25 everyone just writes you off. Good for you for seeing your opinion as fact. Calm down and pay your mates back. Poor money management can indeed be a deal breaker. A person doesn't have to lie and steal in order for it to be a deal breaker. It really depends on you. His spending and borrowing habits would worry me. Personally, if for no other reason, that they're a window into the future. If you are more frugal, like to save and prefer to avoid debt, you guys seems like you're financially incompatible. Like others have said, you don't get to decide and control what he spends on. But you do get to decide what kids of behaviors in a partner that you're not willing to tolerate. This is a type of issue that will lead to resentment down the line. A grown adult should be able to handle their finances responsibly. He shouldn't be borrowing money from friends to buy non-essential stuff. I don't think that it bodes well that he can't sacrifice for a few months so that he can build up an emergency fund so that he doesn't have to beg and borrow money from people. Thinking about this long term, if you were to stay with him, then almost guaranteed you are going to have to pick up the financial slack in the relationship. It's probably going to feel like you are doing all this work to save up and he's undoing it all by just frivolously spending. I personally wouldn't want to be in a relationship with someone that can't save money and stand on their own 2 feet. You really only have a few options. 1. Voice your opinion that you think he should reevaluate his spending and saving habits. Hopefully he will make a change to where he at least can quickly get to a point where he isn't going around begging others for money. 2. If he won't/can't do it, you have to decide if you are willing to put all the financial weight in the relationship while potentially having your partner actively undoing all of the work you are doing. 3. If you can't deal with his bad spending, which is 100% understandable BTW, then leave him. This is one of the main issues that causes long-term relationships to fail. Lastly, just understand that you can't force and dictate his spending. You can certainly voice your very warranted concerns, but it's important that you understand that you can't tell him what to do with his own money. Thank you very much. But please notice that I don't care about what he does with his own money, the money he has. I care about the money he doesn't have. When you have to borrow, you clearly don't have the money now. Yes, but he doesn't see it that way. There are no magic words that will make him see it that way. All you can do is express your concerns and hope he changes. I'd opt for giving him an example or scenario. People often process things better when given something tangible to work with. I think you're focusing on the wrong things here. His behavior does have to change, but you don't get to dictate how that change happens. For example, you can offer to help him budget, but it would be controlling of you to tell him he can't have his name brand pasta. Instead, you should help him make sure that the cost of the pasta is included in the budget. You can help him decide if he needs to cut back on some things to be able to afford others, but where he cuts back is his decision and not yours.